Well, guys, recently Coastal Regulation Zone 2018 issued by government has invited lots of controversy. So let's see what is coastal zone. The coastal zone is actually an area that interacts between land and water. It is an area between high tide line and low tide line, 10 nautical mile towards sea from high tide line and 20 km towards land from high tide line. This area actually consisted of called as coastal zone. So what is the necessity of coastal regulation zone? It it provides a very valuable ground for marine ecosystem, coral reefs, creeks, mangrove. It provides livelihood. It promotes tourism. Sand shoreline provides the ground for nesting as well as mating ground of different species. Timeline: for the first time in India, coastal regulation zone is declared 1991. In 2011 it was revised, and in 2018 for the third time it was revised. So before going into the core topic, first let's see the overview of coastal regulation zone. The coastal regulation zone has been divided into three parts: part 1, part 2 and part 3. Part 1 is actually those areas which are very valuable from environmental point of view. They are ecologically sensitive areas, and here 20 meters around such areas has been declared as no development zone. Means up to 20 meters there will be no development here. Part 2 belongs to urban areas. These areas are actually already developed and there is no limitation here. All the areas with developed infrastructure up to the shoreline. And the core point that invites controversy is part 3. Part 3 are rural coastal zones. Again, when part 2 is urban coastal zones, part 3 is rural coastal zones, and it has been divided into two parts, part A and part B. Part A is actually those areas which are densely populated, where per square kilometer density of population is 2,161. And here, no development zone is 50 meters from high tide line. Part B is less densely populated area. Per square kilometer population density is less than 2,160 kilometer. And here, no development zone is 200 meters from high tide line. In part A of coastal regulation zone 3 rural areas, no development zone is 50 meters from high tide line, and B 200 meters from high tide line. Keep these things in mind. So what are the notifications that we have already found it? Part 1 is coastal regulations on part 3 rural areas has been divided in part A and part B. In part A are those rural areas which are where population density per square kilometer is 2,161. Here, no development zone is 50 meters from high tide line, when in 2011 the restriction was 200 meters. Now that restriction has been limited, that for the purpose of promoting tourism. Now it is said that infrastructure projects, other development projects can be extended up to the 50 meters of high tide line in part A of coastal regulation zone 3, and B are less densely populated area, where population density per square kilometer is less than 2,161. Here, no development zone is 200 meters from high tide line. It was same as 2011. In 2011 also it was same 200 meter restriction, and where the change has been made in part A rural areas which are densely populated. It was made to make the local people involved in the participation process. That is why, against the boundary of 200 meter restriction from high tide line in 2011, now restriction has been limited, and now no development zone has been only 50 meter from high tide line. Now, no development zone 20 is 20 meters for islands close to the mainland coast and for all backwater islands due to their unique geography. The islands which bears invaluable marine ecosystem and which have unique geographical feature which are close to the mainland coast, that no development zone in such case has been restricted up to 20 meters. Specific guidelines have been issued for ecologically sensitive areas. That means for part 1 means coastal regulation zone part 1. Pollution control measures has been issued. Tourism infrastructure has been guidelines has been declared. And here you might find the question in prelims that what is the definition of coastal regulation zone 1? The definition has been provided under Environment Protection Act 1986. As per the definition, coastal land up to 500 meter from high tide line and 100 meter along the banks of creeks, estuaries, backwater subject to tidal influxations will be included under coastal regulation zone 1. Try to find out what is creek, estuary, difference between estuary and delta, backwater. These are important for prelims, and it consists of mangroves, coral reefs, creeks, etc. Choiles-Nayak committee report is inevitably linked with this issue. I'll discuss the report in another video. Till then, try to find out yourself how you can interlink Choiles-Nayak committee report to this current affairs issue. So what might be the some possible concerns here? The concern area is it might create threat to livelihood, threat to ecosystem, disaster, pollution, lack of involvement of local stakeholders. Try to narrate every point from yourself. I have just pointed out. I have just made the mind map, because if I will go to discuss all the things here, it will be a very lengthy video and nobody will watch. Right, so I have prepared the mind map. Based on these facts, try to prepare your own notes.